Let's let it get a coat off.
The Morton Grove Public Library Board of Trustees regular meeting being held in the Youth Service Activity Room on November 20th at 7:01 p.m. is called to order. Texas slow. Everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Without dropping a beat, of course I can. Trustee Elbers. Trustee Bird. Trustee Delano. Trustee Goldstein. Trustee Gonzalez.
Here.
Trustee Novak.
Here.
And Trustee Peters.
We're gonna go out of order tonight on the agenda. I'm going down to item number 9, new business, letter A, and ask Rick Patricic of Studio GC to present a change order for Frontier Roofing as it relates to the current bid process.
Hi,
And, thank you for coming up.
good evening. How are you? Thank you also for moving me up.
You're very welcome. Believe me, I don't wanna sit through it either, so.
Do we have an answer on tomorrow? Can I ask that now as well?
I think we can, I would like to make the proposal to modify it tomorrow.
Okay,
Okay.
there's a delay in the bid packet opening, which I just learned about around 6 o'clock,
Correct.
so
I can explain that
please
first.
do,
Okay.
please do.
We were notified late this afternoon by probably 3 or 4 general contractors that are looking to bid on the project for tomorrow, that they are having difficulty getting the quote for the glass and framing that we are looking to have installed in the mezzanine area and some offices that have this aluminum framing and glass design that has been incorporated. So we, the contractors have said, you know, they're telling us that they need a week additional to provide the contractors a quote for the material with regards to this portion of the work. So I would like to suggest to you, the contractors would be coming tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock in the morning for us to open receive the bids and open them publicly tomorrow. But I'm prepared tonight, I've already talked to a couple people, that I would send everybody an email tonight, and then officially we would send out an addenda tomorrow morning and delay the opening of the project quotes so that they can get the quote from the supplier. I would prefer to do that. I don't have the exact date, and that's my only issue right now, is that how quickly we can get that quote from the contract, or from the supplier. They're telling us they need another week to be able to give that information to the contractors to provide that number into their bid.
Are they all chasing the same supplier?
Basically, yes. It's kind of something that, you know, we feel is important to the project with the materials in both the metal and the glass itself. So what I would like to do is ask you to allow us to talk to the supplier tomorrow and get a hard date that they can supply that material pricing to all the to all the general contractors, and then we would notify you tomorrow when we could have the bid opening.
How is this gonna affect any kind of deadline?
Well, we're gonna be losing a week
and a half,
of
with the holidays?
Least
Just over the one
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
the,
So because we can't open them next week, it's the
Right.
holiday, so you're looking at really losing 2 weeks.
I would probably look to open it either Monday or Tuesday of the following week.
December 1st or 2nd.
Right, so, I just need some time to be able, I mean, even Elizabeth tonight, texted the rep, or emailed the rep that we've been going through, that handles that material. And she's double checking herself what the issue is, that it's taken them so long to be able to provide that information. I don't wanna be unfair to the contractors, and I don't wanna be unfair to the library also by allowing the contractors to just place a number in their bid, whatever it might be. And, you know, it could be high or low to what we actually are requesting.
They likely to be all the same, or do they
Yeah.
give different
That's
contractors
where they
different?
could each put a different number
They
and
would,
completely change
at
that.
this.
I mean, let's say let's say they have their number.
That number would be the same throughout.
It would be,
Yeah.
there's none of this, you order a lot from us, so we'll give it to you cheaper.
Correct,
Can we
right.
leave that number out for
Yeah.
now?
Well, that's the problem. I mean, they've all got, you know, they're all looking to put a number in there right now. The only way we can do that is we'd have to write them an addendum. And we would have to change that on the bid form also. We would have to say something as far as either providing an allowance for that, if we wanted to do it that way, or to just eliminate that cost at this particular time. I really don't wanna do that because with such short notice also, we don't have a chance to be able to get that information out to all the contractors appropriately.
How are you gonna tell them not to come tomorrow?
Well, I'm gonna email everybody tonight, because we have from the pre-bid list, we have everybody's email, and I will be in the office first thing. I'm always at the office by 7 o'clock anyway. So I will be there first, and we will create the change to the bid opening. And what we'll do is we will just identify that, we will hold that bid until we get the actual number, and then we will provide them another alternate to actually tell them the date that we will hold the bid opening.
Excuse me, Rick,
Yes,
would you refresh my memory?
sure.
What did we originally plan on the mezzanine?
There is a glass wall that's being installed up there,
Yeah,
and that
Study.
is,
but
Yeah.
that was in the original bidding, wasn't it?
that is in the second phase documents,
It's what they're bidding on right now.
which is what they're bidding right now,
Oh, I thought
correct?
that was in the original bid.
Original bid was just the roof.
Just, yes.
We haven't bid anything else yet.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct,
Gotcha.
great. You had an asbestos bid, that was a
That's
separate
true, that's
item,
true.
but that was not involved in the phase 2 work, which was basically the complete remodeling of the work that we've,
Well, could we go ahead with the opening as scheduled, and anybody that plugged in a tentative number, just delete that out instead of putting in an addition order, just putting in a deletion order?
we wouldn't know what that is right now.
Well, their reps are there.
They will, I don't like, if I had a line item in there to say eliminate this or whatever, it, you know, you're taking a chance on whether the number is high or low from that general contractor. You know, they don't even know right now what to place in there. I've had some of them say, I'm not gonna put anything in there.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
But
Can
some
we-
of them, I mean, it's so late, some of them are saying, you know, well, I'll just put an allowance in there, you know, so you get some that say they won't put anything, and some will say they will put something. So we don't wanna have that, we wanna have an even playing field where it's just equal to
Kathy's wondering
everybody.
why you can't just take the number out, and you're saying it's gonna be lumped into the total and you
That
can't
is
see it.
correct,
But
yeah.
we had requested itemized, so we won't be able to see
You
this
still won't
number?
be able to see that number particular, because we did ask the contractors to give us what's called a schedule of values,
Mhm.
okay? And that's based on, line items of work, okay? But the line items are still grouped together, so say electrically, okay? We'll get a number from the electrical, portion of the work, but that line item holds all the electrical items in there. It's
Where
not,
does glass fall?
glass would probably fall under specialties. in that or in the door section, which is, there are specific sections in the specifications that they fall under. So, it's a little difficult because the general contractor may take that as part of his general trade package and place it in there
So
because,
they use it differently.
so it's a little different, you know,
So we're not gonna get fair bids by not.
But none
fixing
of
it.
them have factored in a real number for that glass or metal, since they're all going for the same number.
that's the problem though.
But that's also the solution.
But
Not
you-
at this late date.
Not
they
at this
can't take
late
it
date,
out.
yeah, because somebody may provide it, or they may not, and you don't know by them coming in with their bid whether, they've included it or not.
And the
Because they,
representative that comes here with the bid might not be the person that did
Right,
the
but
math.
we have to get in touch with them within the next 24 hours.
I can
anyway,
do that.
Tell them not to come right.
I can
So
do,
can't they be told at the same time?
no, I have to send them an addenda to the bid. And you really are supposed to not send any addenda for changing the, value of the project within 48 hours of the project, being bid.
Okay, I
That's
guess
a
my
le-
only
that's a legal
concern
thing.
is that this is going to stop our patrons from having use of the library
understand.
for another week.
I
And-
understand.
General consensus.
And it's a number that isn't even a vacillating kind of number. It's a fixed number, whatever it's going to be, it's going to be.
Correct, correct.
Right.
And so we're not getting any value, do you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're
For losing
saying.
this time.
If they had found this out with 48 hours to
Right.
alert them, they could have done something.
I
about
would
it.
have done something, yes, exactly.
And next week would be difficult, but if we
Correct.
can do the bid opening next week, we would make it work.
Okay,
Yeah.
We'll be here if we need to be here,
Okay.
so.
and that's fair.
But without knowing when they're gonna come through with the number, it
Well, what-
won't help.
You should know that soon.
We-
If these people drag their feet for 3 weeks, then we're on the hook
Well,
for 3 more
they've,
weeks.
they've told us a week, but what we can do is we can go back to them and say, we have to have the number. And we can make a decision also tomorrow whether or not we want to just say back to the contractors, let's put X amount of dollars in as an allowance for that material.
Then we could give them 48 hours and do this
And
like
then we
Tuesday.
could, then we could do that, yes.
Yeah, however we
Why
can
don't you just
short
do
this
that?
is what I would be.
Why don't you just do that instead of waiting on this glass company?
And move
Okay.
the bid opening till Tuesday with that,
Sure, we could do that.
Do you have a
That wouldn't be much of a delay
ballpark
then.
figure of what you plug in there on this glass?
I don't right now, I have to take a look at it tomorrow
Yeah.
and kind of
I mean, I
quantify it.
imagine it's a fairly large figure if we're
Yes.
talking just about that.
Yes.
Are they the only people around that do this?
It,
it's a very pretty fancy glass they're doing.
right,
It's decorative.
I know it's got
They
books
think-
on it and you can read the books
No,
and the
I
pages
know we
turn.
wish.
but
And have
it's
holograms
the
on it.
framing and the glass, so that it comes as a,
So it's pretty
Complete.
exclusive.
yeah, so we wanna do it right,
If
number
it's
one.
horrendously expensive, we may not use that glass.
No, I don't think that's the issue, I think that's not the issue, I
Okay.
think it's just trying
Yeah, I
to,
realize it's all.
Yeah, how's it
quantify it.
different than the kind of custom, I mean, I have custom glass in my house because we built a custom
Mhm.
shower which needs
Sure.
shatterproof glass and
Sure.
it's yay thick and has
Right.
custom metal around it, and how's it different than that kind of custom glass?
It has some texture to it,
It's got these interesting ripples.
Right.
It's brand new, which is why they don't have,
So-
instead of just plain rain theme, like, you know what the rain looks like?
Yeah, I've got
It's
rain
got
on my
some
shower doors.
larger- Rick sent me a picture, he got all excited that he found this, the other Rick. And
yes.
it's got some interesting large panel, it really is
It's
pretty.
gonna be clear, so it would
It-
keep
It's
it
alternating to create, actually, it's more for the inside where the staff are, because they need some privacy. But the outside, there'll be just a little bit of this to add some interest, but
Right.
you'll definitely see the people up there.
Yes, you will. So, it's visible.
How important is this?
So
It is, it is.
So we can't get clear
This
and
is
put
the
the
aesthetic
plastic
side.
on
It definitely is important because it gives privacy, but it also gives some visual distortion of people looking up at them. You don't want people, you don't want people being kind of in a fishbowl type thing either.
It gives them that,
So-
just that feeling that they're
Correct.
not being watched, even though they really are.
Are you
So
talking about
I will
staff or
forward the
patrons,
pictures
because
to you.
it's
I just
already
got
open for patrons?
It's staff that's along that wall because that's where the
There's glass on the
desks are and
inside
everything,
hallway
yeah.
where the staff are in their offices on
Right.
this side, and the staff don't wanna be in a fishbowl. They're
Oh,
very
we
nervous about
thought
that.
the glass was just on the.
There's
It's
three
on
walls
wall,
of
yes.
glass, there's 3 walls of glass up there.
No privacy.
Right, so, I will take your idea if you wish and provide an allowance and we can modify that and move the bid opening to next Tuesday. Okay,
That would be desirable.
okay, we can do that and then we can move ahead.
Then we can still, by Monday, have packets to them, and by the following Thursday have the special meeting.
Sure,
Thursday's the holiday.
No, not this Thursday, the
Oh.
Thursday after.
Yes.
Oh.
The
We will
Thursday
have-
we didn't know about, 'cause we
I
thought
told
it
you
was
Wednesday, that was my
Because it
bad.
was
It was,
Wednesday.
it was Thursday. I
The
said
Thursday,
that.
that was Wednesday.
that's all right.
I got it.
I told everybody at a pre-bid today, I said, no more questions after the 27th, and one guy looks at me and goes, that's Thanksgiving. I go, oh yeah. So I had to change that, but that's fine. I can take that back and we can make that adjustment. What I'll do is notify everybody tonight by email that we're gonna hold it, and I'll tell them we're gonna send out an addenda tomorrow morning to identify that, so that we won't hopefully get people running in tomorrow morning.
And still, we probably will, so
We probably
we'll be
will.
prepared for
But
that.
we will do the best we can. I already talked to my administrative assistant. I said, I wanna make sure I know exactly where all the emails are of everybody who attended the pre-bid. She told me where they were at, so I'll do that late tonight, and I will copy Deborah on it and Kevin, so that
Okay.
they know that we've accomplished that.
If somebody drops a bid off,
We can just hold that,
you'll hold it,
yes.
and then can they ask to withdraw it after they receive your addendum?
Yes,
And
they
we-
can,
and-
as long as we hold it and don't open it.
Okay.
And we can tell them also tomorrow morning, I think, whoever is going to be at the front counter tomorrow morning.
If you have something we could hand them by then, that would be
Okay.
awesome.
Okay,
Maybe just a copy of the email that you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we can do something like that, that's fine. So, all right. I apologize, this is very unusual. I may have had this happen one other time in my some 40 years of doing this, so,
We like to make it interesting. We
I
don't want to be
guess.
just
I
another
guess.
job.
Nothing's easy, right?
Nothing
Nothing's
about this is gonna be
What
another
this number
job.
would be, because you've used this product before, right?
I haven't used this particular pattern of glass.
But we know how many square feet they
Yes,
have,
we
and
do.
we know.
Right,
So you can
We'll
do a
figure it
pretty
out.
good
We can-
guesstimate.
That's what I'm.
Okay,
So the-
on
what
to
are
this
the size
piece.
of the panels?
I believe they're 84 inches tall, I don't remember the width of them,
This one.
so, yeah. So, okay,
Yeah, I think they're earthquake proof.
yes, yeah.
We
I'm not sure the building is, but the glass might be.
The only thing left standing will be the glass
Yeah.
wall.
The glass will just be standing there and the whole building will collapse underneath it.
Oh, but the trusses that are supported, those will be good.
They'll be up to the trusses. It'll be sort of like,
The new
it'll be
trusses,
sort of like
everything else will crumble.
So
witchcraft.
with that kind of resolved, I'd like to talk to you about why I actually came tonight.
Yes.
Please.
In the course of developing the phase 2 work for the project, we incorporated an ADA ramp on the second floor to make a level change, important addition to the library and everything, so that you can get to all levels. The package for the roof work had already been let when that was developed. So there is work that is being required because of the ADA ramp. We need to raise the portion of the roof directly underneath that ADA ramp for clearances,
Directly over.
or directly over it, okay? So, what I asked Frontier to do, because we had gotten far enough along in the design and everything, with regards to the second floor off of the mezzanine and everything, I asked them to quote us a price to raise that roof area, because I didn't want them to put the new roof on the area, and then phase 2, we come back in and we tear that out. So technically, this change order that I'm gonna share with you would be part of phase 2 work, okay? So it's kind of already been budgeted in phase 2 work, okay? So, the number that, was pulled together, and I reviewed this, more than once, I knew it was gonna be substantial in that. It's $99,591, okay?
To raise just that
To
portion?
raise that portion of the roof. There's additional steel structure that has to go in to support, the walls in the roof area. There's new, roof framing, new siding, and, that's part of
Did
it.
did that number, did you pull it out of phase 2 work before or after you gave us the $1.4 million?
I gave you that 1.4 prior to pulling that out.
Okay, so that number should reflect.
Yes.
We don't know what they're all gonna be,
Correct.
but that number should reflect this not being in that work.
That is correct, right. But there's a huge value to not having to redo that work. I would say the value of not having to redo that roof area again is probably $25,000 to $30,000 more.
So ripping off.
To rip off the roof area, modify the structure at that point, and then incorporating the work that needs to be done for raising that area.
And currently, there's a temporary roof in place.
That is correct.
And they can't just leave the temporary roof and
Right.
leave this for phase 2. They
Right.
have to do this now.
Yeah, it just makes sense to tie.
How come if they do the whole thing all over again and have to rip it off, it's only 30,000, but to do it the first time,
30,000
it's.
in addition.
In addition to
So
this.
100.
Oh,
In addition to
Brick
this.
the area.
That would be
Again,
backwards.
This isn't working.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, would it
Fuzzy
be
math.
less expensive to get a pencil and redraw the ramp?
No. We are required to have a certain elevation on the ramp. Length of the ramp is also required by ADA code. So we fit it in as tight as we could, but the elevations are set basically by mathematics of where you start and where you end up.
Right,
And
so
we
you
have to
might
have that
need
length.
one more turn, but we do have another building now that we didn't have before.
So what?
So instead of paying an extra $100,000 to put a bump in the roof, if you put one more turn in the ramp, you lose a little more floor space, but it's not as critical because we've got the building across the street.
We lose a lot of floors.
You
We
lose
lose
a lot of
Or
floor
a
space.
half a turn, or.
Well, when you change levels and everything and you start making turns, it lengthens the length of that run requirement, because you are required to have certain size
know.
space for those
Yeah.
runs and everything like that.
The ramp itself would then be more expensive,
Correct.
which is already quite expensive too.
Right. So I don't think there's any savings in that. What you're doing here is you're creating a handicap accessible building here. And you should, because of what we're doing as far as value to the building, we should be making the facility as ADA accessible as possible.
How big is the dormer in effect? It's a dormer on the roof. What's the size of it? Roughly, if you could remember.
Off the top
It's
of my
gonna be
head.
at least as wide as
It's
the
roughly
ramp is.
about 8 to 10 feet wide.
Like the
Okay,
ramp,
right.
roughly.
Correct,
Yeah.
and it's probably, well, it's literally from where it comes off of the office area now, where you walk over to the stair, into the mezzanine area, all the way, to the end of the building.
Does it have to support any weight, any extra weight? You're not putting any machines on
No,
top
but you're-
of it
you're
or
What's
going-
that?
You're going through beams.
on the bump up?
The roof itself,
No, the added part.
Yeah, they added
The
the-
part you're adding, it's just basically going to be a shell, right? It doesn't have
Correct.
to carry any load
correct,
other than
but,
its own.
You're going through beams
right,
that are
current,
weight bearing.
Cut it
Right.
right through.
Loading beams, you have to
right.
work around
I
that.
would
have-
That's the killer.
We're doing
I
that
thought that
and,
was ripped off though,
no,
because the roof is ripped off.
no, the roof deck is still there, okay? The roof insulation and covering has been torn off. But what you also have to do, because you have to go vertically up, we have to build these walls up there also. So there's load off of those walls coming down onto the structure, and that's why we've had to add additional structure
Yeah.
within that space to be able to hold that load that is being added down lower. The roof is no heavier, but that load is being transferred differently through the building.
I do know that Mike Francisco drew a bunch of different ways trying to figure out
Yes.
how to make the ramp fit. It took him days to come up
Right.
with a plan. It
Yeah.
was not an easy to do.
Correct.
He kept saying, well, can you give up this room? Can you give up that room? And then he would try something different. Can you
Right.
give up the elevators? Like, no, not really.
Yeah. So, I think overall, I think the library is gaining something that is important to, the library itself as far as having the ramp for the safety and access for anybody who might have a disability. And you just don't know who that person might be. I have a district that, I worked with last year, had their administrative building inaccessible basically for handicap. They had an employee come down with a disease where they basically were paralyzed for 6 months, and they didn't know whether or not they were gonna be able to come back and be able to, whether they were gonna survive initially. If they survived, were they gonna need wheelchair access to their office? And their office, where they presently sat, was up 3 steps only out of the main part of the ad building. But yet, we had planned a year ago to add an ADA ramp on the front of the building itself and redo the stairs. So that person has recovered and is great and doesn't actually need it, but you just don't know when you might have to have something like that.
No, we legally have to have
You
one.
legally need to have something so that they have access to the
The
areas.
ramp is required.
Yes,
If we wanna use the mezzanine, otherwise.
right, correct.
Are there any grants available for ADA stuff, or is that just mandated?
Live and Learn construction grants can be used towards ADA, the timing isn't falling right, I'm gonna talk to Rick about that when I can pin him down, but that money wouldn't be available until March or April, unfortunately.
It's okay, as long as it might be available, everything helps.
Right. So,
You mean we wouldn't qualify for it
That's what I'm
because the
afraid of.
project isn't falling within that.
That's what I'm,
Right, I mean, maybe that we can do something with the auditorium
either
Correct.
that or the other
or the other
They
building.
both will need some
with
ADA work,
that.
so that's what I'm looking at for that.
right. We've already mentioned that back and forth to each
Because
other
we're gonna
with
be-
regards to the
You're
theater.
ahead of it.
Right. So, I know it's a little difficult to see when I come to you with something like this in the middle of this.
100,000 is easy, I can write you a check right now for it. It just is gonna bounce all the way to you.
I just feel, I kind of thought this out myself. I really thought that this was going to be something that we wanted to get done as soon as possible because we had the roof undergoing at this particular time. So they've kind of held off in that area as far as the framing that they would have had to do. We've gotten some credit for that work that they're not doing. I've reviewed all the numbers with the contractor. I actually knocked them down quite a bit from where he was initially at, because we walked through things and I said, I don't think you need to include this, because we're gonna include this in the phase 2 work anyway. So I did review this extensively. I knew it would be a big number, but I think we're in the ballpark of where we expected it to be.
So really, the 99,000, it may be 50,000.
No, I think it's more
It's-
than that
It
now.
was 150, and now we're down
Was
to
it-
99.
I got you.
Yeah.
A little closer.
Was it-
I'm dreaming, okay, I mean,
Yeah.
I have these dreams
Yeah.
every so often.
So- They're kind of waiting in that area for us to make that decision so that, they can continue on with their roofing work.
Do you wanna pass that out?
Well, I have the 3 copies.
Oh, I have a bunch of
Okay.
copies. Does everyone wanna see it?
I need a motion to approve the change order.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the change order, which includes creating a dormer to provide ADA accessibility.
I'll second that
For
motion.
We need
contract
a
sum
price, we need a
of,
price.
for contract sum of $99,591.
And then
91.
Do I have a second? Oh, sorry.
Art second.
Is there any more discussion? If not, please call the roll.